The ultimate elite trainer box buying guide. Now, a lot of people who watch this channel, I do see the comments say I spend a lot of time talking about booster boxes because I do believe they are the principal investment when it comes to sealed product, and maybe not enough time talking about regular elite trainer boxes. Now, this video is complementary to a previous video. It would have been maybe about 5 videos ago. I did the best modern booster box investment. So we went from Sword and Shield base all the way through to Phantasmal Flames. And we're going to do the same thing. So from Sword and Shield onwards, the first holiday set, which was only an elite trainer box. So a tiny little bit of background knowledge. Holiday sets don't have booster boxes. So really the premier product of a holiday set, other than some premium collections, is an elite trainer box. So we're going to rank all holiday sets from Sword and Shield base onwards, that is the first set being Champion's Path, all the way through to Ascended Heroes, with everything else in the middle. Sets like Celebrations, Crown Zenith, Prismatic Evolutions. Where do they rank? There is 12 of them to be exact. So from Sword and Shield base through to Ascended Heroes, we've had 12 holiday sets which don't have booster boxes. So where do these elite trainer boxes rank? And I'm going to use the same metrics that I used from the booster box investment. So let's work off the fact that all of them get released at the same time. And after 10 years old, what's going to be the best investment? Because really when you're investing in sealed product, you should be thinking long term. So holding something for 10 years or 10 plus years is going to give you the ultimate return on investments. So which elite trainer box is the best once it has 10 years of age behind it? We're going to go from 12 all the way through to 1. Before we start, a little interesting take on holiday sets. Holiday sets have typically been quite weak. Weak throughout Sun and Moon, weak throughout a lot of the early Sword and Shield sets, and all of a sudden, things seem to have changed. From, I guess, Crown Zenith onwards. Crown Zenith was a fantastic holiday set. We've seen more fantastic holiday sets like 151, Prismatic Evolutions, etc. Even, of course, Ascended Heroes. And, you know, it begs the question, and I've talked on this topic before, and this is not what the whole video is about, so I'm just going to touch on it briefly, is that the Pokemon company seems to be putting their best sets out as holiday sets. And why might that be? Well, there's no booster box. Booster box gives you the densest pack selections. You're getting 36 packs inside a booster box. So value for money, dollars per pack, it is the easiest way and most cost-effective way to buy booster packs. In a holiday set, however, you're going to have to buy more product to get the same amount of packs. We see it everywhere. Like, go into your local supermarket. It feels like it was only 5 years ago that you could buy, you know, big bags of lollies or big blocks of chocolate. And now, and I know I'm talking confectionery and it rings true for every product. Now it's like everything's been shrunk down and you've got to buy more of it and spend more money to get the same amount. Like it's a pretty simple, I wouldn't say trick, but it's a pretty pretty simple, I don't know, maybe it is a trick, pretty simple trick from companies to try and, maximize profit and maximize spending from consumers. And that's what I feel is happening with these fantastic holiday sets that are being released. People need to buy more product to get the same amount of packs. And it just ultimately means more profit, doesn't it? So let's jump into it though. Number 12 on my list. What is the worst investment across a 10-year period for all holiday sets? And this was a hard one. It was hard at the bottom end, but it was also hard at the top end. This was actually a much harder list than the booster box list. The only real trouble I had with the booster box list was between Fusion Strike and Destined Rivals at 2 and 3. And ultimately it came down to me thinking Fusion Strike had the better 5 top chase cards inside it. That Gengar being one, and one of the nicest old arts we saw from the whole Sword and Shield era with Espeon. Anyway, number 12 for me was Shining Fates. I think when people think Fates, they're going to be thinking Hidden Fates and Paldean Fates in terms of an opening experience and a collectible investment. And when it comes to Shining Fates, we've seen the Charizard before. We saw the same artwork in Darkness Ablaze and we saw the same artwork in Champion's Path for that Charizard. So that was the third iteration of that artwork as the only real chase card inside Shining Fates. It got used and abused, that Charizard VMAX artwork. Shining Fates has very little going for it. Moreover than that, it was also printed really heavily. So when we're talking 10 plus years, even though a set might not be a great set at launch, as in there might not be great, consumer sentiment, there might not be great chase cards, if it's short printed, it can have a good impact to how it performs long term, 10 plus years. And Shining Fates wasn't short printed. Shining Fates was printed heavy at the get-go. It was a little bit hard to get at launch because of the whole COVID thing going on at the time, but then it had massive reprints and it was not short printed at all. It was still sitting on shelves like 18 months later after launch. In 10 years' time, I think, from launch, if we're talking that 10-year period for all these sets, this will be the weakest set in my opinion. So arguably probably the worst investment you could have done out of any Elite Trainer box from the modern era, that is Sword and Shield base onwards. Number 11 on my list is Pokémon Go. I think the only two things saving this is one, just the driving of fans from that mobile game itself, Pokémon Go, and number two, the Elite Trainer box artwork having Mewtwo on there. That will add some level of collectability in the future because, where's mine? Might be behind me. Oh no, yeah, that's behind me, right behind me. So you can't see it in the frame, but the artwork is actually quite nice, and that's probably going to add some level of collectability. There's not many chase cards inside this set. Total set value is super low. And if you've watched this channel before, I always talk about total set value equaling future sealed product price. That's really important. Total set value comes from the chase cards. We've really only got the Rainbow Mewtwo and the Mewtwo alt art, which is an odd looking alt art. Anyway, and it's only going for $40 odd, I think, the alt art. So not many chase cards inside there. Number 10 on my list is Shrouded Fable. The reason I put it ahead of Pokemon Go and Shining Fates is for two reasons. One, it feels like it's been somewhat short printed compared to a lot of other Scarlet and Violet era sets. And the second reason, the artwork in this is actually kind of cool. It does follow this theme of that dark type theme, which is what it's all about. Some of the chase cards inside here are actually really, really nice. Like if you take a closer look, personally, I love two of the Gen 1 Pokemon inside here, the Persian and the Horsey. I think they're awesome artworks, particularly the Persian. I think overall, it might even be a sneakier performer than what we think. So that's why I didn't rank it. A lot of people have said it's one of the worst modern sets out. That's why I didn't rank it last. I ranked it at number 10 on my list. Number 9 on my list is Champion's Path. Champion's Path does have three things going for it. Two Charizards and the box art, having Charizard on the box art. It was also not short printed. This was quite a heavy printed Elite Trainer box, but the two Charizard chase cards do hold a reasonable amount of value, and particularly the main one, that Shining Charizard, that is actually a very nice looking card. It holds decent value. Both of them have been graded quite considerably. I think there's over 15,000 copies of both the two Charizards in a PSA 10. But nonetheless, those two Charizards plus the Charizard artwork on the box will carry this set a little bit. There we go. We're a third of the way through. Before we jump into the top 2/3 and start hitting on some better investments, I just wanted to give a shout out to today's video sponsor, which is, of course, the Collector app. There'll be a link in the description to download it. Awesome app. It's so easy to use. You can put in your whole singles and sealed collection. It shows so much data. You can click on set analytics for any English or Japanese set. It'll show you total set value. It'll rank the hits from highest to lowest price. If you're a pro user, you can see so much extra market data. You can go way back in time and see how things have been performing in the last 5 or so years. It'll give you a great gauge on making better decisions when it comes to investing, and the ability to track your portfolio and see how you're performing, what your gains are across time. Awesome app. There'll be a link in the description to download that one. This is where it got tricky, because I think those four are clearly the worst four. The rest, it was a bit like splitting hairs to some degree, and I feel bad for putting this at number 8, but something's got to go there, and that is White Flare for me. White Flare, of course, complemented Black Bolt. The total set value for these sets are actually quite high, really quite high for a holiday set. I think that comes down to the fact there's so many illustration rares inside this set, and the top few hits are quite heavy in their price. If you're not a Gen 5 lover though, these sets probably don't mean much to you. And if you're of my vintage, I'm in my mid-30s now, and if you're from my vintage, Pokemon wasn't all that fashionable for us anymore during Gen 5. It was probably the time we were kicking around college and university, and still being into Pokemon cards, although I did a little bit on the side without trying to tell too many people. It wasn't all that cool, was it? So A lot of us maybe don't have an affinity to that Gen 5, but that doesn't take away from a few things. It doesn't take away from the artwork inside these sets, and I've actually ranked Black Bolt at number 7, a slight bit higher than White Flare. The total set value is a slight bit higher. I think the chase cards inside here with Shinji Kanda's Seismitoad for Black Bolt, a slightly stronger set, slightly stronger chase cards than what comes in White Flare, but difficult to put them here. These could be very, very dark horses. I'm not saying they're bad investments or even mid-tier investments because they're middle of the pack. It's just there's better holiday sets in my opinion than these. I actually think they're quite solid pickups. There are some Gen 5 lovers out there, a lot of them for that fact, and they could well and truly pick up a lot of these in the future as purchases. So not a bad investment there. Number 6 on my list, and it maybe feels criminal putting it here, but this is the 25th anniversary set, Celebrations. Total set value is somewhat weak for Celebrations. It's actually a lot weaker than Black Bolt, White Flare, but the reason I put it above there, I do harp on about how important total set value is, but I also harp on about how important nostalgia is and milestones are. And this is a milestone, 25th anniversary. It's going to mean something in the future. Again, not a short printed set, but some throwbacks to some old cards inside here with the 25th anniversary logo on there. Could they have done better on this set? Of course they could have. I think we could have had a slightly bigger classic collection, or maybe a harder to pull classic collection, and then B, a bigger main set collection. A bigger main set collection with some more hits inside the main set, and then tiered the classic collection chase cards for them to be a little bit more difficult would have made this set so much better in my opinion. Maybe even having that 25th anniversary logo a touch smaller because it's very, very big. Number 5 on my list is Paldean Fates, and again, this is where it got really hard. I like Paldean Fates. I think it's a great set. I think the Bubble Mew will go down as one of the greatest cards, one of the greatest chase cards from the whole Scarlet and Violet era, and the only way, of course, to pull that card is to buy yourself some Paldean Fates. So the Elite Trainer boxes have been doing big things. They've risen up rapidly. Mimikyu on the outside of the Elite Trainer box. It's a very nice Elite Trainer box to look at. There are a lot of things going for this set, coupled with the fact it has Charizard, a beautiful Gardevoir SIR. The baby shinies are quite nice as well. It's a very, very good set and very investable in my opinion. Now we're into the top 3. This was hard. I actually ranked Ascended Heroes at number 3. This is one hell of a set. I really like this. A few things going for it. A, it's just absolutely stacked with chase cards. If we look at some of the prices on here, I do think some of them are going to pull back. That's what happened. We saw it with Prismatic Evolutions. Total set value just so high at launch, and as more product gets released, we don't know print waves, of course, this set has just come out, but you would expect they would do multiple print waves because this set is so hot. There's so many chase cards, 2 Pikachus inside there, SIRs, a Dragonite SIR, a Gengar SIR, a Gold Charizard, Gold Dragonite. It's completely stacked Ascended Heroes with chase cards, and the box art's cool. We've got Dragonite on the Elite Trainer box. There's God packs to pull from English. There's different holo patterns when it comes to reverse holos. It just has so much going for it, and it definitely deserves to be in the top 3. In 10 years' time, this will be an expensive Elite Trainer box. Number 1 and 2. Hard. Difficult. At number 2, I put 151. The nostalgia factor, although this doesn't have the highest total set value, the nostalgia factor for this will just be insane. This brought so many people back into the hobby with reiterations of Charizard, Blastoise, Venusaur, their whole evolution lineup, so many illustration rares for some beautiful 151 Pokemon like Dragonair for argument's sake. The Alakazam is still the nicest special illustration rare you can get from the whole Scarlet and Violet era, from my opinion. The legendary Bird Trio with Zapdos leading the lineup there. It has so many beautiful chase cards, so much nostalgia, so many people brought back to the hobby because of it. And don't forget, promos are important in Elite Trainer boxes, and having the Snorlax promo inside this one will add some value to it. And number 1 in my list is Prismatic Evolutions, the whole Evolution lineup. We've seen what Evolutions can do, from Eevee Heroes back in Sword and Shield era on the Japanese side to Evolving Skies on the English side. Whenever we have Evolutions, it just commands huge amounts of money its way, coupled with the fact that there is God packs, coupled with the fact that Shinji Kanda gets some artwork inside there of Roaring Moon, coupled with the fact that there's other special illustration rares inside there, also coupled with the fact that gem rates are actually quite difficult on these. That Umbreon EX, the Sunbreon as people are calling it, that in a PSA 10 is on par with or outperforming Moonbreon from Sword and Shield era. It is, in my opinion, the best set. Hard, and don't get me wrong, this was hard. Maybe any three of those top three, Ascended Heroes 151 or Prismatic Evolution, could have been there. Hey, did I just skip over one? Did I skip over number 4? If I did, it's Crown Zenith. Crown Zenith was in at number 4. I might have skipped over it. Sorry, I was getting so caught up in the top 3. I might have accidentally skimmed over Crown Zenith. Crown Zenith was number 4, by the way. There you go. That proves these videos have no editing inside them. They're straight off the top of my head. So number 4, Crown Zenith. What a beautiful set as well. Like it. Gold chase cards inside there. Beautiful Mewtwo V-Star, which couples with the Charizard V-Star from the Charizard UPC. Crown Zenith in at number 4. Again, it was splitting hairs. That is such a stellar. It was a great round off to the whole Sword and Shield era. Sleeping Mew inside there. Legendary Dogs inside there. There is a stacked top 5 inside here when it comes to holiday sets from modern era. And then that summarizes the point that I made at the start of the video. They are putting in so many good holiday sets for us to buy more packs, essentially. Well, there you go. There's my 12. Let me know down in the comments your thoughts. I'm Michael. This is Pokeoz. Catch everyone next time.